WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin, LaGrange.
It's now time for Heart to Heart Radio, presented by Connecting Hearts Network, connecting women to one another and resources. Now here's your host, Margie Conway.
Shopping for insurance doesn't have to be stressful. I'm Christy, owner of Ellsworth Insurance, located here in Noonan, Georgia. We're an independent agency with access to multiple carriers for home, auto, life, health, and commercial insurance. We're your one-stop shop for your insurance needs. www.insurewithellsworth.com, 770-755-7053. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Moving is a big decision. Selling or buying a home in any market, but especially today's, can raise a lot of questions. Hi, I'm Amy with Killingsworth Realty. My husband Todd and I serve the Coweta and local area. Our purpose at our first meeting is to learn your goals, answer questions, and provide resources so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. 678-525-0047 to schedule a free consultation today to discuss your real estate needs. You don't have to do this alone.
This is Margie from Connecting Hearts Network. I'd like you to take just a moment and listen to Linda Kirkpatrick explain to you what Family Patterns Matters is all about.
Family Patterns Matter works with youth and their families to help overcome barriers that prevent their success. We meet twice a month with mentoring, tutoring, teaching life skills, resilience, gratitude, and kindness. We also bring music and art therapy. Please visit our website at www.familypatternsmatter.org.
Hello. I'm Pina Payne with Contour Mortgage, and we're so excited. We have just moved to this new company, and we are located at 560 Noonan Crossing Bypass in Noonan next to Art and Jake's, and we have some great products. Our interest rates are better than any other companies, and we also have some great products for the VA. We can do a better deal for you with fees than any other company. We have a lot of different kind of programs.
You're walking, shopping, or on your favorite trail. You get that feeling somebody's coming up on you. What do you do to be prepared in today's world? Hi, I'm Holly Reese. I'm the founder of Warrior Defenders. As a certified tactical self-defense instructor, I'm specializing in women's self-defense. All women of all ages have the ability to learn how to defend themselves effectively. With technical drills to build their survival skills, you can be your own hero. Classes and private seminars are available. Learn today to have a safer tomorrow. WarriorDefenders.com.
I am Margie Conway and from Creative Hearts Studios, and this is the Connecting Hearts Network program. It's still in January, and it's the month where we set our goals for the year. We decide what we want to get accomplished. The big thing this year is saying do more in 2024, and we can always do more, but you need to focus that more to go into the purpose for your life and not just so you're doing more and you got a lot of busy work and add a lot of things that don't really fit into your life plan. I completely understand that because for many, many, many years, I didn't even know you could plan anything out. I thought you just took what came at you and made the best of it. But you can have some say-so in it. Now, we all know that in the Bible, it does say that the best laid plans of man are nothing in what God has planned. And I have found out that he works things out much better than I do. But it also says that he gives us the desires of our heart. And the desires of our heart, when we draw close to him, are purposes that would bring glory to him or show the purpose that you were created for in life. And I do strongly believe we all have a purpose we were created for. As we talked before about your word of the year, I told you mine is gather. And I'm working to gather women in many different ways so that we can, glorify God and encourage one another. So when we talk about vision boards, I have done them the whole range. And a lot of times vision boards will be, what are your goals for the year? And what is plans do you want, and what, contest at work do you want to win, and what new car do you want to buy, or how much money do you want to make? And those are things that as humans we work for. But I do my vision boards a little differently because for as long as I can remember when people talked about what are your dreams? Well, my dream was to have a quiet, peaceful family. And how do you put that on a vision board? So I believe more in the life mapping process. And basically, that is saying, here are my experiences and my talents and gifts, and here's where I'm at now, and how do I want to expand on that through the year, and putting it up for God's approval. It tells us in the Bible that we can plan all we want, but it's not really our plan to be able to implement. We need to be tuned into God so that His plan is what we are focusing on, because He does give us grace that we can go off in many different directions, but His plan will always get accomplished. And I know in my life that has been true. I tell everybody I fell into teaching, I fell into being a church secretary, but this life coaching, and I kind of planned it and worked hard at doing it. And it's very satisfying to be able to accomplish something like that. And, but I kind of feel like I fell into the radio where technically I didn't. Technically, radio was part of God's plan for my life because when I was 15, I went to college prep class at Mercer University, and they did talents and gifts, and they put us all in different areas for us to do an internship that summer. And my internship ended up being in TV and radio broadcasting. And I didn't even remember that until over the last year, somebody that I went to high school reminded me of that. Then I worked at the church, and when you work at a church, you end up with all kinds of duties. It's one of those where you wear many hats. And there was a whole crew that volunteered to do the TV and radio broadcast that the pastor put out each week. But as would sometimes happens with volunteers, as they changed and they didn't come or they moved up. And guess who had to learn to do TV and radio production in the background? I quickly became familiar with Adobe Premiere Pro and with sound recordings and with sound waves and minutes and seconds and countdowns and all those good things you need to know to do that. And so when I started doing the radio, the background production part of it helped me be able to step into the front of it. Not always successfully, but I do give it a hard try. So you can look at things that has gone on in your life and you can see what directions you've been geared towards, such as I know I've always been creative, and art is a big part of our entire family. So getting a certification as an art therapist fits in with my personality and what I normally do anyway. And so you can do that with your vision boards. And that's what I tend to do when I work with a group of people to do it. Of course, we get our magazines out and we cut all these pictures out that have to do with our word and our life and our passions and things. But instead of putting here, I want this car, or here, I want this, we do it more of, I am at this point, here is my purpose. My purpose is to reach women, especially those that have been affected by the trauma of domestic violence and abuse, and be able to point them to God for healing and joy and an abundant life that really should be theirs. And so knowing that that is the purpose that I am in this phase of my life, then when I start planning for the new year, I need to plan, what do I want to accomplish with those women? Do I want to reach more women? Do I want to have more volunteers helping me and build better relationships? We've had 2 retreats over the last year. So how do we want to have the retreats? It's how I want to build on the foundation of what is already there. If I want to do something entirely different, that most definitely needs to be in a corner of the vision board for me to see, because the whole point of a vision board is to put your goals and your dreams down so that you see what it is you want to accomplish, and that helps spur you on a little bit more towards doing it. Now, as we said a few minutes ago, when we go planning our lives, it even tells us in the Bible, how can we say where we should go today and what should we wear and what should we eat? Because God takes care of those things for us. He leads and guides and directs us there. But He gives us lots of freedom and lots of choices in it. And that's clear. And he says he gives you the desires of your heart. And, sometimes we'll think, oh, the desire of my heart is I really want a new car. I want the latest, greatest clothes. Oh, I want these things. I desire to have these things. But in those instances, that's kind of like we're trying to use God like a Santa Claus or a bank. We want these things, so please give us these things. And when I used to teach the junior Sunday school class, I would tell them you can pray all you want to for a bicycle. And if it will help you come closer to God or lead others to God, he will give you that bicycle. But if it's going to be something that makes you spend your time away from him or be sidetracked or head into the wrong directions with the wrong groups of people, you might not get that bicycle. And, sometimes we do just get the bicycle because we love it. I'm sitting here in an enormous craft room surrounded by things that I love that God has blessed me with over the years. And yes, I do use some of the craft supplies and things, with different women's group I use, but I really just love to sit here and look at it sometime because it's such an eclectic vision of things to do, and it makes me happy to be in this space. So we do get the desires of our hearts, and when we align them with what God has. So aligning them with what God has planned for us is important. So as we go into life mapping, what you would do is you would sit here and say, okay, at this point, God has led me to lead a women's group, to have a small community center for women, community groups for women where they can gather and support each other right now through healthy habits and through trauma of abuse and domestic violence. So with those groups, where do I want to build on those groups from now? I mean, I want God to take the lead in it and to do, but I would personally love for us to reach as many women as possible because I know the value that these classes have and how they do point you truly to God as a great physician and the healer for you. So I want to expand on those. So on my vision board, I have ways that I'll expand that. Part of which is this radio program, and part of which will be some additional things that I'm going to build up online so that it reaches more women. And yes, that will reach women that's not necessarily local to us, which means we're going to have to expand more into video and online groups. So in part of my vision board, I've got that I'm going to expand into the technology that I have to be able to reach more women. And locally, I'm going to network more and put the word out more of what we do so that we can have other women come in to be a part of it. Another part of being able to do that for me would be building up other ladies to be mentors and leaders with women there, because I can only lead so many of them on my own. I need other people to help do that. So how am I going to build up these leaders and these mentors? Well, I have a program for women to teach women how to disciple other women. So I want to enroll women in that program to be able to reach out to other women. And I want to teach them how to build relationships with other women so that they can become a safe place for those that need it. So building up my technology and building up my network and teaching women to disciple are things that are on my vision board. Is that things that's going to bring me fame and great money? Probably not, but I'm not looking for fame or great money. I'm looking to reach other women and to be able to do that. Now, to be transparent and in the world, you got to have money to do that. So how are you going to make money to reach out? Well, our community groups have pulled out under our church, which really has taken a big burden off of me. And they don't really cost much to run, but just utilities and space and paper and printer ink costs a lot of money when you add up to it. So by moving those things to the church, I don't have to worry about the utilities and the space and the paper and the printer ink. I just have to bring the coffee. So that cuts down on my expenses to be able to do it so that I can reach more and I can take what I already have available and move it over to areas such as technology that's going to be able to expand our reach in that way. I want to build a network, so I need to be going to these network meetings. Yes, does that take money to do it? So in my case, I went back to work 2 days a week in the middle of last year so that I would be able to fund the things that I felt were necessary to do. This year, I have some things in the line. We're opening an online store, which will have inspirational gifts, and we're working on a subscription box so that those things can help fund retreats and studies and things that we want to do on our own. So we've pulled part of it under our church, but part of it we're keeping under the Creative Heart Studios. So when I do the vision board, I put that I want this to lean into the church and I want this to head to the studios to make sure everybody knows that Amy and I are still around to support women, even if we're not in a set location and we go mobile. Going mobile is a whole different set that I can add to my vision board because I need to be able to have areas that I'm going to use for gatherings. I need to have the supplies and the things there. So my vision board is more like an organization board at this point, to help me get to the areas I need to do. And that is important because when you have it before you can see what you hope to accomplish, and it helps push it a little bit more. Because if you want to see the end picture for these women to be healed and to come closer to Christ, that makes it worth it when it's hard and you're having to deal with issues of gathering and of having groups of women together. Because sometimes having groups of women together is no fun. I can tell you because I'm one of them. I have led large groups in different places that I've been at. And I'm sure it's the same with men, although they will tell us it's not. You have a lot of personalities that you have to deal with. So to do a traditional vision board, you cut out your magazine pictures for all your hopes and dreams, and you cut out some words and you glue them on a board. And you do that to visualize your success in each of these areas. The life mapping, you're going to figure out where you're headed and what you built last year and how you're going to build on it this year, and if there's any new things that need to be added to help get you into the purpose that God created you for. So how do you find your purpose so you know what you're working for? I'm glad you asked. I have a couple of studies that I can do with you, and one of them is Holly Gerth's book, You Are Already Amazing. It is kind of a bridged version of some longer courses that I know about that can help you identify your strengths and your talents and your passion. And when you take your experiences and add it to that passion and those strengths and those talents, that's your purpose. Because God equips us to do what it is that He would have us do. So where I've done crafts with kids and crafts with widows and crafts with school kids and all these things, God equipped me with a very abundant craft supply and craft room, but He also gifted me with the ability to be able to do those crafts and to lead other people in doing it. So you will look at your talents and your gifts and say, here is what I'm very good at. I'm very good at reaching out to other women and pulling them together. Well, then you are good at networking, and you need to figure out how that fits in with your life purpose. If your strengths and talents, you may say, oh, I'm not good at anything. I can watch kids. That is very valuable. I can tell you from our groups that we do, having someone that is dedicated and loving with those children to help those mamas to be much more engaged in our groups. If your talents are in cooking, well, that's good, because we have a lady that cooks us cookies, and she is furthering the gifts of being able to reach these women because they get good treats when they come and they know it. And let's be honest, when you're going into some deep things with women, you want lots of chocolate to follow it up. And so there's even science behind that chocolate because it releases endorphins in your brain that helps you be happier. So your gifts and your talents, whatever they may be, are there for you to use. At our church, when you think about creative spiritual gifts and talents, we have people that are greeters, and those greeters stand out in the lobby and they welcome people into our church with a smile and a handshake or a hug, and give them basic directions for what they need to do. Now that's much better than just walking in an empty lobby and going and sitting down in a space where you don't know anybody. So those people who have that hospitality gift are great at greeters, and they're great at making people feel at home. And that is a true talent and a true gift. So you can figure out your talents and your gifts. You can go to 16 Personalities and take a test that will tell you can go. I got a list. I'll post them on our website that will help you identify your gifts and your talents if you have no idea what they are. But I promise you, if you just take a few minutes and sit back and think, what am I really good at? what comes easy to me. Like creativity comes so easy to me and my daughter that we are surprised when other people don't think that way. And most other people don't think the way that we do when it comes to decorating or project-based plans. So something comes really easy to you, and something gives you joy when you do it. I know crafters that get great joy in crocheting blankets and taking them to, nursing homes. And that is indeed a service for God that you can do. So you figure out what your talents and your gifts are, or you call me and I'll help you figure it out. And then you move to what your passions are. What is it that sets your heart on fire? What is it that makes you want to get up and do something? We see those commercials on TV all the time with kid hospitals and sick kids. And sick kids and kid hospitals really make us all want to get up and do something for those poor kids. And that's the point of it. They want to pull at your empathy so that you do. And yes, that's a good thing to support. But then you see the ones with the dogs. And right now we see the ones about hunger all over the world. What is your passion? What makes you want to get up and do something about it? My passion is teaching women that there is an abundant life and there is healing, and here's how you can find it. And I'm so passionate about that all these things I learned and all these other direct sales and everything else I didn't do it, but now I am. It's like one of the direct sales that I had, you went out and blitzed. So you just went up to total strangers and said, let me tell you what I do. I can do this for you. Do you want to have a party? And I didn't really do much of that. But now I have cards and little bags I will go out and that tell what we do. And I will say, here, I have a gift for you. I'd like to tell you about the women's studio and the women's group that we have. So I go out and do things for this that I didn't go out and do for others. I persevere even when it gets difficult and makes me think, oh, maybe this isn't worthwhile. And before I shut it down and didn't finish the project, now I persevere to do it. I have walked into these groups in a boot and on crutches and on a scooter and in a wheelchair. So no, I didn't walk in if I was in a wheelchair, but I have made sure I got there no matter what has gone on with all this foot surgery. And before, I would have just kept my foot propped up on my sofa. So you have to have a passion that is going to drive you to get out and do things even on the hard days. And when you combine that passion with your gifts and your talents, you're heading in the direction you need to go. So then you stop and look at your experiences. Your experiences in life do lead you to what you need to do now. For instance, in the Bible, it says that we comfort others with the comfort we've received. I know quite a few people. One lady I know is a lupus warrior, and she has lupus, and she has lost sisters to lupus. So no matter how bad she feels, she is out there spreading awareness of lupus, and she is one of the strongest warriors that I know. But she does it even on the hard times because it means something to her, and she has been through it herself. And that's the same with me and the women that I deal with. There's experiences we have that prepares us for what we do, and the hard times you have gone through, once you've gone through them and healed, that gives you a stronger faith that God will bring you through it. And we always say, I'm broken, I can't do anything. Well, when God puts you back together, that's where the light shines through, is in the places that you've been broken. So, you need to list your experiences down and add them and see how they fit in with what your passions are. You're going to find that your passion of what you want to solve in the world has something to do with the experiences you've gone through. So when you apply your gifts and talents to that, you're getting to what your purpose of what you're created to do was. And basically, to simplify our purchase, see, my mind went totally bad there. Our purpose is to love the Lord with all your heart, and all your mind, and all your soul, and love others like you would love yourself. So we're here to glorify God, to bring awareness of Him to people who need Him, and to love on other people. So then you get complicated when you start adding in all these other things. So I do that through the studio and the radio and the community groups that we're leading. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to reach people to bring awareness or to help solve the problem that is your passion that you have because of your experiences? What gifts and talents are you going to bring to that table that's going to help with this problem. And you'd be surprised. I mean, if you have marketing gifts and talents, that brings awareness to nonprofits and to causes that you just can't imagine. If you have creative and crafty ones, there's always something you can do for just about every charity. If you have organizational skills, I could promise you every single person that is out in any organization doing anything can use your administrative and organizational skills. So when you do that, you come up with a map of what your life has been like and where it's led you to. And your goal for your vision board is to map out how I'm going to use those gifts and those skills and what else I need to accomplish this purpose. And that brings a whole different phase to it. It's one I don't mind hanging up in my house. And it's one that this year is going to look this way, and next year it might look a little bit different, but I could still keep this one hanging up because it is going to be like my certificate of what I accomplished this year. And you guys that's listened to me before know I love my certifications and my certificates. And so it's going to be one that's not going to go out. So I already got that car, so I don't need that vision board anymore. It's going to be one that will continue through your life so that you can just add to it as you go along. And that's the very best way to get a vision for your life, to align yourself with who God created you to be, to grow very close to God so that you are right up with Him, and the purpose and the ways that He created you are giving you desires on your heart to be able to reach more people for Him, to be able to accomplish more for Him. So that's the desires of your heart, to be able to look and plan, but also be able to be flexible enough to know that if your plan doesn't work, God's plan is always better than ours. There's nothing I can say that can state that better. His plans are always better than ours. It tells us in the Bible His ways are higher than ours. When I was going through some of the trauma and things that I've gone through in my life, I could not in any way imagine how anything good could come from that. And no, God did not put me through those traumas and through those things that I've gone through in life. It was because man made their decisions, and their decisions came off on me. But God has turned it around and used it for the good of other people. And He will do that if you will allow Him to. So I encourage you to make a vision board, but to make it a map of your life, to figure out what you're already doing that works well and is bringing glory to God and helping other people, and build on it as you move through the future. And if you need any help doing that, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm going to be on a few other channels lately, and you can find us at Creative Heart Studios just about anywhere. Just Google it. It shows up. We are going to be leaving our location that we're at. Apparently, God keeps us in a place for a year, and then we start outgrowing it. And we are outgrowing it and needed further space. So our community groups have now moved to Westside Baptist Church, which is actually where they started. Her journey was started at the church as a church ministry, but as the church went through construction from tornado damage, it became inconvenient for us to meet with the ladies there, and I moved them to our studio. And then it just became more convenient for me to have them already where I was involved at. So now that we've outgrown that part of the studio, we have moved that group back to Westside Baptist Church on Smoky Road. So Her Journey group is there. It's meeting on Mondays and on Fridays. Our Healthy Habits started at Westside back before Corona. Vicki and I had different things going on for the ladies at different times, so we are pulling that back up under the church ministries. So Healthy Habits is on Tuesdays at the church. On other things that we will do, like vision board and life mapping and independent meetings and other gatherings, we will be doing those in another location, which we will share with you later. But the most important location you could have is as close to God as you could get. So that is what I pray for you, that as you sit down and try to come up with a vision for your 2024, that you do more to bring you closer to Christ and share His message with others. Thank you for listening today. I appreciate it greatly, and we will talk back with you again next week.
Moving is a big decision. Selling or buying a home in any market, but especially today's, can raise a lot of questions. Hi, I'm Amy with Killingsworth Realty. My husband Todd and I serve the Coweta and local area. Our purpose at our first meeting is to learn your goals, answer questions, and provide resources so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. 678-525-0047 to schedule a free consultation today to discuss your real estate needs. You don't have to do this alone.
Shopping for insurance doesn't have to be stressful. I'm Christy, owner of Ellsworth Insurance, Insurance, located here in Noonan, Georgia. We're an independent agency with access to multiple carriers for home, auto, life, health, and commercial insurance. We're your one-stop shop for your insurance needs. www.insurewithellsworth.com, 770-755-7053. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Hello, I'm Pina Payne with Contour Mortgage, and we're so excited. We have just moved to this new company, and we are located at 560 Noonan Crossing Bypass in Noonan, next to Art and Jake's. And we have some great products. Our interest rates are better than any other companies, and we also have some great products for the VA. We can do a better deal for you with fees than any other company. We have a lot of different kind of programs.
You're walking shopping or on your favorite trail. You get that feeling somebody's coming up on you. What do you do to be prepared in today's world? Hi, I'm Holly Reese. I'm the founder of Warrior Defenders. As a certified tactical self-defense instructor, I'm specializing in women's self-defense. All women of all ages have the ability to learn how to defend themselves effectively. With technical drills to build their survival skills, you can be your own hero. Classes and private seminars are available. Learn today to have a safer tomorrow. WarriorDefenders.com.
You have been tuned in to Heart to Heart Radio, presented by Connecting Hearts Network, connecting women to resources and one another. Located at 3 Bullsboro Drive here in Noonan. Tune in next week for another episode of Heart to Heart Radio with Margie Conway.